Hello, West Pacific Market Analytics, and it's Glenn here with a quick AI update. I wanted to go into this. We were talking a lot about this over at the member site, and over there we've started a new AI category. We pulled it out from other sectors where we were looking at the AI models and put it into a standalone. And I wanted to highlight just a few of the lists we looked at today. There is ETFs, obviously, that are good to follow, that show what is going on in that AI space. It's just been incredible. It just seems like you group some of these stocks like Oracle and Cisco and IBM into an AI ETF. I've never in my entire lifetime, seen stocks that basically nobody was that interested in go as ballistic this year and last year is what we've seen in the likes of IBM. But at the same time, technically, the price had to go here. And I want to show you that because I find that really interesting. Part of what I've been finding as I've studied more the gatekeeper model and more so its channel that I call the directional circulation and the momentum of circulation, forming this thing called the velocity channel, I'm starting to understand that price has to go to a certain place before it can top out. And I will admit that's taken me a little bit longer to come to the wisdom of fully understanding. When you create a data model that's physics-based, hybrid-based, that's completely different than anything's been done before, it takes much, much longer than I realized to come to full understanding. But what's so exciting for me now is I feel 100% that we have got a system that is like nothing out there. There is absolutely nothing that is predictive as what this system can be. It's got such big potential. I'm so excited about this, and I look forward to starting to really ramp it up again, bring new members on, offering at a really affordable price to come on to our channel, join us on the Discord platform, and I'll bring that up in just a moment, where basically one trade would pay for a full year. And we're going to be looking at trades, and we're going to focus on certain ones. I've been talking about that double short I like, the Granite shares in Tesla and NVIDIA that are just going to be barn burners once they set up. Just two trades that we're chasing right now. There's so many places. You could go short a lot of these names and make some really good money. And we're going to have big bounces off these lows that are just going to offer fantastic trading opportunities if you understand where and when they can bounce. So we're going to get into all that. So let's get into the disclaimer real quick. And I got one other thing I want to go over with you. Again, these charts and updates are for educational and entertainment purposes only. So please read that, the normal disclaimer. Hope you're having a great weekend. Going to try to get a few videos out here over the next couple of days. Should be able to get one or two, maybe three out here into the weekend. Was hoping to already have a few out, but been a bit delayed. Now here's what I'm offering. I'm doing this. I'm going to run this for a few weeks here, this special offer here to join the Discord platform. I'm going out, having some individuals go out to a big meeting here next week. They're going to be taking out some flyers and some of my data models. We're getting more into chasing some big wealth client type of clients to do portfolio analysis of their current holdings and looking at risk management solutions for them. And so here's just a quick flyer I put together. And what we're going to do here is we're going to offer this 3-month trial for only $2.99, and that can be applied to the full year membership. The full year membership runs about $5.98. It's really affordable. It's really cheap, keeping the cost down there to make it so it's not something that's overly costly. And again, with that $2.99 trial, if you're not ready after 3 months to come over to the full year, we could talk about that and even extend that out a little bit. So once you sign up, I'm more than willing to take a look at your own portfolio, do a comprehensive analytical look at it. Also, if there's any particular stocks you want to have looked at or analyzed for what you should be doing, or even how you want to balance out your portfolio, anyone that joins the Discord site, that is what we can do for you. Always open to looking at anything that you need to have model into our system. So again, I just want to throw that out here. Let's get into it, not waste a lot of time. Let's start over here. I added now this new AI category. Let's pop up here in the member site. We just started in on this today, and I've set up all these models. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at this AI model. And you can see how perfectly this just tracked. And what's interesting, even if I overlay the SPX to this, it just totally follows this. It's like everything is just trend following, right? Gold's trend following. Bitcoin's trend following, AI's trend following. I mean, what a freaking market. What kind of a market is this? It's just, but that's where you got to have trend and velocity based modeling to be able to see it. in this last rip lower, I'm going to show you why we had to have this last rally up. And at times you're just like going, yeah, well, you got to see that. And I'll show you that in just a second. But you can see here that when we sold off here back in 2022, what I'm realizing now is even if you had the model here and this part didn't exist, if you just were looking at here, that was still would have had the V channel above here. And you notice directional circulation, it had to top out before the market could top out. Oh, isn't that wonderful when you've got dogs near your home office? So you can see right here, you can see finally we got the directional circulation topping out. So in other words, this price came down here, it had to rally, right? I mean, it had to go up here into the V channel. The curve had to top out for the momentum to end, because what this is modeling is the momentum. You can see it draining here, and then you can see as we built back up, the velocity built back up. Now you can see right here on the directional circulation, we came up, we came back down, and we had one more rally up here. But I'm going to show you in some of the models why we had this second rally. And now what we're going to want to watch, obviously, here on the AI model is for this trend to break. You see how the trend broke here and we had this big sell-off. So we're going to be watching again for this trend to break, and we're going to be watching for the velocity to top out here. Now what we're looking at here is this group of stocks: Palantir, AMD, Broadcom, Meta, Apple, Nvidia, Amazon, Netflix, IBM, Cisco. Those are the top 10, and the top 10 make up about 32% of that index. If we wanted to run all 20 of them, that would give us about 50.60 of the total assets. So we're looking on my site at some of these other ones. We're looking at Google, we're looking at Microsoft. We've been looking at all these as well. Of course, Tesla's one of the ones we're looking at because it's the trade. Accenture's really had a big sell-off. And ServiceNow looks totally topped out. We're going to look at Oracle. I did put Oracle into this group today because there's something I want to show you there. I want to show you Oracle along with Cisco, because I think it's interesting. We've got some old school stocks in this mix, right? IBM, Cisco, Oracle here, which go back a long time. IBM all the way back into the early 60s, and Oracle and Cisco back to around 1990 when they began trading. But you can notice that the AI is what's driven everything, because what's in here, it's the FANG, right? It's all the stocks that are driving the market higher. The Metas, the Apples, and the Nvidia, the Amazon, and Netflix. Look right there. Let's do it. Hey, let's stick the top 5 most heavily weighted tech stocks into the ETF portfolio, and of course that's going to drive the market higher. So I almost, sometimes I think, man, I tell you, all these CEOs must have got together and said, hey, let's create an ETF and put all our names in there, and everybody will buy the ETF because they see the AI boom, and we'll all go so bloody rich. They just made billions and billions of dollars, and they must be just offloading. You just can't justify the prices here. But we're going to look at that. So let's skip right down before we really look. Well, let's stop one more thing here on the AIQ model. You can see right here that we still have not had a turn here on the signal, right? So I've talked about that. Now, this is AIQ, which we're using. There's a few other ETFs. I like AIQ the best because it's got the largest market capitalization. Now, it's not that big. When we talk large market capitalization, it's about $6 billion, so it's not huge. But it's still good enough to be represented. The only thing is the data trail is not as long as I want. But I find it so interesting that they started all these AI ETFs right back here when they needed to continue to blow the bubble. Is there a reason for that? You never know. Let me tell you, it's really curious that right when they needed to keep this market going, they started all these AI ETFs. Then the hype bandwagon just comes out like no tomorrow, right? But we still need to see this top out. So we have not had a top out on the signal. That doesn't mean that it's not done, because when I look at the top 10 within the ETF, they look very topped out. So I'm expecting for us to see that channel, or I should say that signal, to potentially roll over. But we want to see that. So let's just start with that. Now let's just go down here to IBM, because I want to show you, I think it's really interesting when we look at this. Now here is the entire history of IBM. Right here, you went public back here in the late 50s, early 60s, around 59, 1960, IBM went public. And you can see the signal here, this double signal right here in 62, coming up, and one signal rising from 62 up to here, and then the second signal having a corrective move here from 1987 down to 1993. And then even when we had the 2000 and the 2007 corrective moves, IBM sold off, but it didn't change the signal. What's interesting now is IBM is the signal is focused and rolled over. So we have a top in IBM. Now I want to show you something on that's really interesting. So this is an historic top now in IBM based on this signal that we use in our modeling. Now we'll go and look at something else in just a moment, but I want to just show you. Let's go down to the one I was showing the members here. We'll go into that close-up on it. But you can see again, if we take this IBM model back here to 62, 63, you'll see our rising dot curve, right? So you see the dot curve rising and rising and rising here. And then you notice our V channel, we've had corrective moves. You see this corrective move right here in the 70s where we were trading, 11 down to 6 here. Boy, were those the days. And then you could see it came back up and then it slowly worked higher. And then eventually here in 93, it really took off. And you can see then it really stayed nicely in the V channel. But what's interesting is you notice with this signal top, we now have the dot curve topping out and rolling down. So in other words, the price, even when it was back here, you see where it came down here, and the V channel was above and the dot curve was still rising. And this is where it took me too much time to figure this out, but I fully understand it now that something cannot top out if the V channel is above the price. So in other words, this whole time, even though we're trading sideways and we had these down and up rallies here, all the way here from 2011, well, the market was going up, IBM was going nowhere. And even out here into this low around 2020 at 67, the V channel the whole time was above. So it was saying at some point it has to go higher. In other words, until the dot curve tops out, IBM doesn't top. And we can see now that right here, IBM is officially topping out. We have a turn in the signal. So as we come in closer, that double signal focuses down into one signal because it's so long. And so that signal coming out of the 62 low and that signal coming out of the 93 low has now focused at the top, turned down right as the directional circulation is topping out. I'm telling you, IBM had to go here. I know that sounds crazy, but that is just the way the algorithmic code of the modeling works. It is absolutely predictive. And so once this tops out, anyone that's long-term IBM has had a big pop back up here, back near to its highs here at 294. This is a sell. You want to be unloading 100% of your IBM position up here. I mean, any old fart, he's just been given an absolute cherry on a plate, and you got to wonder with some of this stuff, right? I mean, it's just incredible. You can see here in this IBM flow model, look at this in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. Nobody wanted IBM. You see all these pink areas here? This is a flow-based model. This is selling. Everybody was dumping IBM. Nobody wanted IBM. And all of a sudden, when the hype begins and IBM's in a ETF AI index, look at it. It just goes ballistic. But the thing is, it had to go there. It had to go there. Incredible. I mean, that really is incredible. So I just wanted to show you that. So IBM, you want to be getting out of that. But it's just interesting how the model works, how it says, hey, look, price has to do this. It's just the way it works. So let's take a look. Let's look. Now, Planetaire is a little bit more difficult to do because we don't have a huge data tail, but we can see Planetaire at 190 here is signaled and topped out on the weekly model. I'm going to call it here. I think we're pretty good now for a high on Planetaire. We've got a target potential of 50 below. Now that's on the weekly, so there's another support level above that. But I mean, look, we've gone from 66 to 190 on this last push. I mean, it's over. I mean, we look at those kind of pushes, there's going to be profit taking, right? And Palantir is number one in that AIQ list. Now we need to see, here's that 190. We can see that velocity is still kind of tagging out here. And you can see from that 66 up to the 190, it just rode right up this big velocity bubble we've had building since 2024. It's coming out of 2024 and then it all went ballistic. So, I mean, Palantir has still got to top out, but, that's another one I'd be done with. I think it's done. It's, all this stuff is. I mean, you look at even AMD, I mean, AMD was just absolutely crazy. Here's AMD. Let's look at that. I only put one AMD model up here because I just want to show you. I mean, AMD, you can see is priced right here, the red candle. I put the SPX in here because I want to be watching the SPX to these AI models. And you can see that the velocity is breaking away. You can see we're priced right up here with the trend. This is AMD we're modeling, and you can see we've already got the velocity top, okay? And on AMD, the signal already went as well. I don't know why I didn't plug it in. I had it, but I should have plugged that in, and I did not. But we were looking at that. AMD looks done as well. So interesting, really interesting. And then we go into Avgo. Avgo, what a run it's had. Let's look at the signal here, right? This is the first turn on Avgo at 373 off the 2010 low. I mean, look at this, 137 from that April low to 373. I mean, these moves are just ballistic. They are locking profits across the board up here. I guarantee you the really wealthy are laughing all the way to the bank on any of these holdings, and they are bailing. And I just got to wonder who in the world would be adding these stocks at these price levels. So we've got the signal turn there, right? There's that signal turn on Broadcom saying it's done. I mean, we can look at it right here on the velocity, and we can see we got this really nice finishing wedge, and it's still rising into the velocity. You can see that last low, it came back up because the velocity was still plateauing. It came up to the velocity came back in, but I expect to see this all roll down soon. So we're going to be watching it. I'm more interested in the signals, because the signals are all there. And that's what's the most important. And then we're looking at Meta here. Here's Meta. Meta signaled at 795. You see we got a clean signal rollover. We've got 450 below. And you notice here the flows are coming out. We've had a rally into this rally from 481 to 795. We've seen the flows coming in. But, even Meta based on that signal looks ready. And look at it, it's all the way up the top here. And we can see the velocity coming out. So we're going to be watching that. But, we could see there, you can see that. Look, there's the dot curve topped out, dot curve coming down, and it all popped out here on the right side of the curve. This is going to collapse. Meta, yes, Meta is going to go down hard until next year. It's not just going to collapse overnight. I'm not talking a crash move here. I'm talking a corrective move. Apple, same thing. Look at Apple. Apple's already had a signal way back here at that high at 259. It came down. It held the gate. See how it held the gate here? It held the gate back here, 2023, 2024. And here, it tested it perfectly. And then we had another rally back up. V-channel is really deep down here. But why did it rally back up? Well, it rallied back up because we still had trend above. So even though you can see the velocity continues to move out here, here was that sell-off on Apple, and it rallied back up to the trend. So it's still topping here, but I tell you what, man, it is topped. Apple looks totally finished as well. I just don't see it pushing much higher based on the fact that what? The V channel is down here. Notice right back here in 2023, we came up, priced into the V channel, and this whole thing here, a head, a shoulder, look at this beautiful head and shoulders pattern above our dot curve above the V channel. This is a topping pattern, a very long-term and very large tapping pattern above the curve. No way. Done. NVIDIA a little more complex. I don't think we're looking at NVIDIA here right now. I want to show that to you in a trading video, but I think NVIDIA is getting close to being done. It hasn't signaled yet. It's got a little bit of work to do, but it looks pretty good. Amazon, look at it right here. Dot curve, it's finished. Amazon's done. So I didn't want to get into all 10 of these. I want to go Cisco, Oracle, though. We're going to almost do them all, but let's just do it. I want to show you Cisco and Oracle here because I found them so interesting. So here's Cisco, right? Notice Cisco's signal here, 1991, both the signals down here, first signal top right here at the 2000 top. Then we had a sell-off. You notice we had a blue signal here, and so then we had a blue signal taking off here. You notice the red signal was at the 91 low, and now all have focused and rolled over. So we got a triple top signal here, rolled over and finished. Cisco looks topped, and you can see it here. It's all the way up the top of the trend at the top of the V channel into collapsing velocity. Cisco's done. So another indicator to me that we are really, really close now. There it is. You see the Cisco signaled, rolled, and turned over as we looked at on that bigger model. And we see the same thing here on Oracle. It almost has an identical signal. These both came public at the same time, 9091. Topping here, second signal. It's a little bit different looking than Cisco. If you look at it up closely, all three focused up here and rolled over. So if we go there, we can see, let's pop over here into Oracle. We can see the signals turned at this 345 high. I mean, what is that about? When does Oracle go from 118 to 345? I guarantee Ellison must be selling in boatloads here. I'd love to look at the insider reporting. He's got to be offloading a boatload. We got 138 below on the gate. So, I mean, these moves are just crazy. I mean, you just got to wonder who is buying these up here. Nobody wanted them back here. Look at 2022, we're trading 100 on the high and 58 on the low. Who wants to pay 345 here for it? Okay, it's over. So we are very, very near because AI has been driving this whole rally. Bitcoin as well, and we've already looked at that, and that's absolutely topped out and headed down to about 70,000. And now we've got to top out in the AI bubble. So that's all I got for you right now. We'll be back at you. As this thing continues to top out in the next couple of weeks, we'll update this AI sector video, and I'll bring it to you. Don't forget our promotions. If you want to talk to me on the telephone, go ahead and email me at my destinytrading@gmail.com address. And if you want to have a chat on the phone about what I do and, about the past. I mean, yeah, there were some failures in getting to where I'm at to figure this physics-informed hybrid modeling idea out. It's what the quant funds do, right? But I've taken it different, a little bit different approach in the way the quant funds do it. And I'll tell you what, it is extremely accurate. I'm actually blown away about what we're going to be able to do with this ahead and the kind of money we're going to be able to make with it. So if you're interested, get a hold of me. We can even have a chat on the phone and talk. Even if you have any general questions, always feel free to get a hold of me. So thanks for tuning in. I'm out of here, and I'll be back at you with another video. Glenn out.